Back home, back to work after taking care of business up at Virginia Tech. And good film session, good practice today. Some good stuff on tape, some stuff to keep getting better at. And then just really excited for this opportunity. Unbelievable opportunity coming up this Saturday against a really, really good football team in Pittsburgh. Just explosive players across the roster. I mean, they're top 5, top 10, and top 15 in just about every offensive and defensive category. Extremely disruptive on defense. Up front at the second level, they're really good at just creating chaos up front, negative plays, tackles for losses, interceptions, and actually have a good amount of pick sixes as well. And on offense, certainly their quarterback heads up an unbelievable offensive surge for them. But he's surrounded by, it starts with the offensive line. They're big, they're physical, they get downhill in the run game, as they showed this past week, and they do have some dynamic players across the board as well. A lot of energy, going to be an awesome atmosphere, and again, just really fired up to continue getting to work for this coming Saturday. Questions, please.
Carson pointed out something the other night, or 2 weeks ago, that probably should have been obvious to people. He didn't have a sprain. And I know he could throw in the summer, but he really didn't have much of a summer either. He was obviously out of pitch count in the summer. Mm-hmm. Does it stand to reason that in November, his numbers are as good, if not better, than any quarterback in the country, just because he's now actually had some time to work? Is this? I'm sure you didn't look at it in the terms of he's going to have the best numbers in the country, but did you expect that he would get better as the year went on?
I mean, we're finding our rhythm offensively right now, and it's a combination of a lot of things, and he's a big reason why. And I mean, there's no substitute for repetitions, and but we've never used it as an excuse. But would you love to have a spring with a new quarterback and a new system? Absolutely. Those things are hard to skip, and we overcame a lot of that, in the early part of the season, but. Feel like just over time, the added reps, the familiarity with both our players, being connected to our players, both on and off the field, and then just repetition is leading to him playing some awesome football. And, just judging from everything that we're seeing, we feel like it's only going to get better in the next several weeks as well.
Mario, kind of the obvious overarching thing about traveling to Pittsburgh, 80 degrees here today, it's going to be 40 at kickoff on Saturday. How do you prepare a team to kind of play in that climate when they're not used to it?
You're just very open and honest about it. You're going up north. The temperature is different. It's November. This is football at its best, man, right? I mean, since the day you started watching football, you wish you could play in games like this, right? Up north, there's enough nowadays. I mean, it's not like we're going to be on the same field playing a team that's dealing with the same conditions. And even though we're a different climate, it cannot and will not be a factor. There's between the gear that you use, between mentality and preparation, that's part of ball, So our guys are really excited for it, and that should override everything else.
And then something I think you've mentioned, and some of the other coaches and players mentioned, that's been about playing kind of loose. I know just during the game on Saturday, like some players were dancing and stuff when they were playing shout, like having fun and stuff like that. How much have you guys tried to get the team to maybe unclench and not play tight over the last couple of weeks?
I think dancing during a timeout has nothing to do with performance and never will. I think the improvement in play has been a matter of confidence, execution, continued advancement and evolving on offense as well. Getting a rhythm early, when the ball gets to certain guys, it kind of ignites you a little bit. Guys get fired up. That's contagious. It translates over to the defensive side of the ball as well and special teams. So I think sometimes that's like understood or perceived as just being overly loose. But that's I wouldn't say that's it. Playing with confidence, having fun, playing fast due to working hard, but trusting each other, I would certainly say yes. I would agree with that part. Yes, sir. What's that?
I think to be clear, I wasn't saying it's a bad thing.
No, I know. But sometimes, you know how it is. I mean, if a quote comes out a certain way and it's cut and chopped up a certain way, all of a sudden it can really just not rightfully depict what we're trying to say.
I know you don't care much about the style point debate, but the fact is you've played 6 or 7 starters down for the last couple of weeks. I know you're getting some of them back. You expect more of them back this week.
Yeah.
How much does that matter? That this is going to be pretty close, it sounds like, to full strength on Saturday.
We're getting close. It's it's really exciting because, you know, when we started the month, I mean, we were down 6 to 7 of our frontline guys. And not only are they really the great players and starters, they're our best leaders as well. And now I think you'll have a full speed Mark Fletcher. He got a lot of reps last week and looked really good. Ahmad is now healthy. Now he can go extended play. He got more snaps this last week. Certainly we expect OJ to be back, who's one of the better corners in the country. CJ looks really, really good, so we think we're like right there with him. He got a few snaps last week. Really encouraged by David Blay today. You know, Wes went full speed last week, so it was his first week back. That's a lot of guys that are now getting healthier. That's an exciting, you know, point of contention for us. We certainly you want to get healthier and avoid as many injuries as you can. And we took a shot earlier this month, but we're on the mend. It's exciting.
Jacoby Thomas, is he? You said after game it seemed like he'd be okay. Is Jacoby good?
He will. I don't foresee any issues at all. He was cleared today for practice, and tomorrow should be fully cleared for everything. Shouldn't even be wearing a non-contact jersey, so we're ready to roll there.
And I want to ask you also about Zachariah Poyer. We haven't really asked you too much about him. Just how you evaluate his season. Obviously, he had a big game against Virginia Tech. How's he done as the season gone on?
Sure. I think he's been excellent the entire season. I think he's so versatile. You know, he's played the strong, the free. He's jumped in at nickel. He's been very effective as a blitzer, as a man-to-man cover guy, playing the middle of the field, playing off the hashes, running the alley, being very stout on the perimeter, getting guys on the ground. I thought his sack was a huge play in the game, not to mention the fumble recovery. But he's been consistent all year long, and his best football is ahead of him. I mean, we see a guy that's just going to continue to get better and better, but he's been a big difference maker for us this year.
Do you feel like you've played your best football yet? Do you feel like you're always getting in the neighborhood of what could be your best football?
It's just getting better and better every week. It's they go hand in hand, right? We're getting healthy again, and it's getting in sync. We're playing complementary football again, right? Which is so key, especially at this time of year. The climate changes. You got to travel, deal with injuries, deal with other teams getting healthy or not being healthy. There's a lot going on right now, and certainly, you know, you have a lot of tape out there, so you have to continue to evolve. And I think both sides of the ball are doing a good job, from a self-scout standpoint, to keep finding just ways to move the chains, score points, and get stops on defense, and then also find advantages on special teams, which I think this year there's been a massive uptick, in our punt return yardage and in our coverage teams for the most part, and I think all those things at this time of year, it's so critical to keep getting better and to really force that mentality and not let it just in any way, shape, or form slide and go backwards.
How have you insulated yourself from all the conversation that's out there about this team versus that team versus this team versus this ranking versus this margin versus this eye test, all that stuff? How have you avoided, or have you?
Directly, there's one scenario that matters, just one, and that's us finding a way to be 1-0. That's it. It's again, a 100% believer, and as football has always been, in the field test. That's always the most important test, and we get one weekly, right? Unless you have a bye week, and that's what every team has an opportunity to do. And we're playing a great football team that is fighting for the exact same things that we are. And you have to be at your best from a preparation and practice standpoint. And so we're looking forward to a great week of practice and preparation.
Mario, what stood out to you about the last game against Georgia Tech in comparison to the game right before that, and how they looked against Notre Dame?
Well, I think against Notre Dame, they got stopped on a 4th and goal. I know at least one time they threw a pick six that tilted the game early because opening drive they moved the ball really, really well. They dropped like a corner ball down that would have been a first down the tight red, and then the game got tilted. Two really good teams going at it. Watching them last week, they exploded from the beginning, right from the get-go. They converted those downs, they caught those balls, they made the explosive plays, and they sustained drives. And they also, when Georgia Tech was creeping back into the game, the pick six that was going to make it a 7-point game made that really, in essence, a 21-point game. That again became a 7-point game. And they have a great backfield, and one of their freshman running backs just took the ball and split them on tight zone duo, however you look at it. But split them, I believe, 55, 60-yard run to then create that 14-point margin. So what you saw was a team that was extremely disruptive on defense. I mean, they forced Georgia Tech into a lot of difficult down and distance situations. They caused a lot of negative plays. They do what they do. They force turnovers, probably as good as anyone I've seen. I mean, they punch the ball out. They have a system that they've been playing for a long, long time, so they know all the ins and outs of it. So they do a good job jumping routes, playing real snug in coverages. They just do a great job on block destruction. Their linebackers are extremely dynamic, just really, really fast, and they suck the air out of plays, man. It looks like a guy's going to get out of there for a big gain, and they're right on it, and they rip the ball out. They get guys on the ground. They hit the quarterback about as much as you'll see a quarterback get hit. Sack-wise, they're at a high level, but sacks don't count the quarterback hits that go with their style of play. So you saw all that in the Georgia Tech game. You've seen it throughout the year, actually, for them. And ever since their quarterback took the reins as a starter, they're 6-1, And they have, you know how it is. I honestly think that there's no position in all of sports that affects an entire team like the college football quarterback. I think that guy can either ignite a place, in terms of in a good way, or burn a place down, depending on the play, depending on the demeanor, right? Just the aura, right? The personality and all that stuff. So, and they've done a great job. And again, looking forward to a great opportunity.
To expand more on Mason, just what you've seen from him, as you touched on the quarterback, Mason Heitzel, and
Yes,
just
sir.
what he's been able to do. What have you seen from him and his play,
Right.
challenges for your team?
Right. Well, the first thing you see is, you want a quarterback to be accurate. He's extremely accurate. Great pocket presence. The off-script plays, the ability to step up, like slide, and actually be really accurate on the move is really, really impressive. He doesn't look like a freshman at all. He has complete ownership of the offense. He hurt people with his feet as well, just not only extending plays and getting it out like he did last week, hitting that ball right in the front pylon for a touchdown, but he'll take off. He'll make people miss and just go. And so the fact that he is an unbelievable competitor, I mean, he's taken some hits as well, and just unfazed. You usually see quarterbacks get hit and maybe they're off. They start throwing a little bit early off their back foot, off balance or whatnot. There's no flinch in him, so really impressive player.
To your point that there's no position that affects anything much like college football quarterback. Cam came in last year, rewrote the record book, completion percentage, all that stuff, and then Carson comes in this year and just shatters what Cam was extremely accurate, and then Carson's just taking it to an entirely new level. Why has he been so comfortable? It's a question better served for him, but it was around this time last year we started thinking about what's Cam's impact going to be after just 1 year here. What do you think Carson's impact is going to be after just 1 year here?
Well, I mean, it's especially at this time of year, you want to just keep the story going, and not look at it or judge it till the very last chapter, So we want to keep playing. That's the goal. But so far, especially with a guy that went through what he went through, because it can derail you, especially mentally if you let it. I think his resilience, his trust in his teammates, the people around him, the medical team, and then the flat out just desire to get after it and get better. I think all that stuff. And then again, going through the ups and downs that come with quarterback play in a season, he's been awesome. And he's got the full support of his teammates, and he just wants to go win, man. That's all he cares about. He just wants to go win.
Mark, I have a weekly Malachi Tony question. You've raved about his off the field work ethic and everything just kind of throughout the year. Did he get here like that? Was he ready-made when he got here in the spring, or has he grown into that over the course of the last 10 months, 11 months that he's been here?
Well, I mean, I think part of it is internal drive because you have to want to do it as well, but the leadership of a guy like C.J. Daniels, I can't overstate that enough. I mean, that guy, he's like having an extra coach in the room and one that commands a ton of respect. And so I think you have to credit the regiment, and the structure, but you have to credit Malachi as well, because that type of grind is, it's not for everybody. And, you could tell, you guys watch us play, you watch ball all the time, is you can tell which guys are on the grind and are going to find a way to correct those details. And, look at the little things of helping sometimes even older guys get lined up the right way, before the ball is snapped, as opposed to some guys that might be the same age or a little bit older and are still, so maybe not getting a signal or not getting lined up. That's right. That's maturity. That's a guy that's already bypassed being a freshman mentally, psychologically, and has just thrown himself from a mindset standpoint into a guy that's been around and playing like a junior and a senior. So credit to him, credit to the people around him, to his coaches. But again, it always starts from within. He's a self-starter, self-motivated guy.
If that was the weekly Malachi, this is the annual holiday one. Then how do you do Thanksgiving?
You practice, you meet, you say grace, and give thanks for all the incredible opportunities that we have to be around. Come on, man, this is, you got to have gratitude for what we have, where we are, the things we get to do and whatnot. And so after practice, Thursday is always a day that when practice and meetings are over, that's the window where you get together. And this is one where we'll have our Thanksgiving luncheon here. Families are invited. I know that email's going out today, maybe it just did with this interview, but and then the guys that still want more, they're all welcome to our coaches' houses. Some guys would rather sleep. I remember my coach always said, come over for Thanksgiving. I'm like, no, thank you. I'd rather take that time to, relax. So we want to make sure that family is always real first and foremost, but also that's time for space, because Friday's pretty busy. You get up, you come, you meet, you walk through, you're on a plane, you land, you get off, you eat, you walk through. So that's their time. So we're there for them. If they want it, there's good food everywhere. But it's also, it's really about being one to know, man. That's what everybody wants for Thanksgiving, right? That's what we all want. So that's a long answer for a short question, so apologize.
Anything else, Coach?
I'm good.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks.
guys. Appreciate it, man.
Happy Thanksgiving.
To you as well.